Hey everybody, what is going on? I am Maximus Rex and this is Big Baby Reviews. Today's Wildcard Sunday. That's where we look at something a little bit off the beaten path from our regularly scheduled videos during the week with a regular batch of artists. So today we are looking at something that is basically a parody of a parody to a certain extent. I'll get into more detail there. We are looking at Adolescent Radioactive Black Belt Hamsters. If you know anything a little bit about animation or comics or cartoons, then you probably have already figured out that this is a ripoff slash parody of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There was quite a bit of those happening right after the initial success of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic book in the early 80s. So we're looking at this one because I think this is maybe one of the best. This is one of the first that came out after the Ninja Turtles. And again, there were just so many of them after that with varying and degrading levels of quality. But this one's actually pretty fun and interesting artistically. So I just thought we'd take a little bit of time on Sunday to look at that and see what's going on within its pages. So let's open her up and have a look. Obviously, if you're familiar with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, this will resonate maybe a little bit more with you. So, you know, they're black belt hamsters, so they are using, you know, some of the same weapons that the Ninja Turtles have. Art-wise, though, I do want to say, where Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird were still kind of amateur cartoonists, not to diminish their talents or anything, because that first Ninja Turtles issue is awesome, but it's a very distinctive style, right? And I would say it has more to do kind of with Kirby and, you know, almost like other artists later on that Kevin Eastman would have at Tundra, like the heavy artist. There's a lot of weight to the art in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the characters are kind of solid and brutal, where this is a little bit different. I feel the characters are a little airier and lighter and more cartoony, and maybe more just light feeling overall. And the style, to a certain extent, sometimes reminds me a little bit of Calvin and Hobbes. Now, I don't know if Calvin and Hobbes was actually a comic strip at this point. This is published in 1986. But there's something familiar to it, obviously, because it's anthropomorphic characters. But there's something in the line, and like I said, the fluidity of it and the airiness of it as opposed to the Ninja Turtles. But it's the same kind of storyline, right? These guys have karate skills, and or at least these ones do because they're black belts. I don't know. It doesn't even say if they're specifically black belts in ninjutsu or I don't even know if you can get a black belt in ninjutsu. Ninjas are assassins, right? They're not like a martial art. At least that's my understanding. But I think the art is really good as opposed to other parodies of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is really good. I think that whoever did this, you know, they got the idea for it obviously from the Ninja Turtles, but the artist was probably someone who was already drawing, if not professionally, he was drawing a lot. Really like the use of darks here and darks, big black spaces. I think that's very effective there. And you'll see he does kind of use different styles here and there, opposed to his kind of main style that he's using here on these pages. And some pages, like I said, very light and airy, and then some of them he just throws in these heavy blacks, which is fun and interesting. You know, this guy here just feels like, it seems like an Indiana Jones parody, I guess. So mostly focusing on the art, very expressive, expressionistic kind of lines and you know, use of the page and the cartooniness of comics, right, to sometimes exaggerate things, as in here. I think that looks great. Got some pretty interesting line work over here. Story-wise, it's whatever, you know, it's not anything I'm you know, that into, but mostly what I like is the art here. Kind of getting a pre-Sin City vibe, right? Because this is 1986, way before Sin City by Frank Miller. And like that cartooniness definitely is more akin to what I would maybe see in a comic strip rather than in a comic book. Really kind of going pretty far with the, you know, the sketchiness sometimes. Like I think all of this here is, compared to some of the art, very little detail and just kind of quickly done, but I think it works, right? He actually has the balls to try something like that there. So, you know, I'll give him that. That's, yeah. I can't complain about the art because the storytelling is clear. There's something about it. I like the line quality. There's like also kind of a Mad Magazine, maybe some of the lettering and stuff, a Mad Magazine influence. You know, clearly knows how to work in black and white, using the bold black spaces as best as he can, or when he can, with like the prisoners' clothing and stuff here in prison. Some big, bold black backgrounds here, kind of the old school science comics elements here. Someone who knows comics history, I feel. Yeah, this shot is great here, and I just, again, love the uses of those bold kind of, almost a bit of a Klaus Janson vibe and Frank Miller vibe here, even though, the Ninja Turtles had that too. It's almost like from two different directions. This is kind of cartoony with some Frank Miller elements in there, and Ninja Turtles comes at it from a different angle, but still with some Frank Miller look and influence. Here we're going past, I gotta say, we're breaking the fourth wall, right? Because we're seeing like the artist drawing here. And it's kind of odd. I don't know if I like it or not, but it's interesting that it's been tried. The artist's hand, I don't know exactly how it's integrating into the story. Like we see the artist here now. He's supposed to be whitening something out here, and it hasn't completely worked because he ran out of liquid paper. I mean, again, compared to Ninja Turtles, this leans way more into kind of the funny animal aspect and the cartoony aspect, right? It seems, again, even in subject matter, a little lighter and airier than the Ninja Turtles, which seemed a lot, again, heavier, a lot of darker kind of artwork, a lot grittier. And here's where we get an interesting kind of style change. Completely, really, where they call this character here now, I don't know if he's supposed to be some sort of hippie or drug dealer or whatever, but then all of a sudden we're really into somewhere else here with some I would argue kind of underground type of artwork there. Underground comics from the 60s, late 60s, early 70s, San Francisco, again, the hippie movement, Robert Crumb, all of that, right? And then we kind of slip in and out of it, right? To show off this character's world, we get that underground style. Definitely interesting. Again, trying something different here. As I stated kind of earlier, I do feel like this is one of the better and more interesting offshoots and parodies of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Definitely, one of the more successful in creating its own thing, being a little bit different, and also having some really competent artwork, That's how that one ends. We get another kind of short story over here. Different artist. Not bad, but not necessarily the focus of, what I was going for with this review. It was mostly that first story there. I don't know that I'm that interested in this short story in the back. And then we get a little bit, again, of the hamsters drawn in that underground style here. Very interesting. I mean, I would tend to say that's pretty much a Robert Crumb knockoff, right? But there you go. So once again, something a little bit different. Let me show off that cover there, where I think this is some sort of diorama that they took a picture of. And you've got some clay figures in there. Quite different. I've seen this before, I think on some Batman covers or Detective from like the late 80s, early 90s. But, definitely trying something different and interesting here. Oh, I didn't see all of this stuff here. We've got some reviews, and I think they're fake reviews even. Let me read a few just for fun. From beginning to end, this book is a bloody bore, the worst piece of literary offal it has been my misfortune to read in many a month. I think that's how you pronounce that word. I've never seen that word in my life. It is the lowest form of slime. A thesaurus doesn't contain enough synonyms to describe how terrible it is. To attempt a parody of a book that is itself a parody defies logic. So they're actually referring to that. That's funny. To do so with a package such as this borders on sheer idiocy. And let's call Hamsters Drek. In both story and art, it displays a crudity to which even the worst of the undergrounds would be ashamed to lay claim. Mr. Chin and Parsonovich should definitely give comics a second try, preferably after they graduate from junior high school. Obviously they wrote that themselves, but it's pretty funny. You know something, Parsonovich? Mr. Jones is absolutely right. Okay. At last, someone who understands us, right? That's the artist. So he's saying that you're absolutely right. That is what we kind of set out to do. Parsonovich, I'm going to go with that. You incompetent idiot. You forgot to circle the eyes of the hamsters on the cover. So they're, that's hilarious. You also constantly forget or get them mixed up on the insides too. Arg, do it again and I'll chop your tongue, meathead. Cat Ironwood. Okay, we did the book. Can we see our families now? Wood and Dringenberg. Well, funny stuff. And worth a pickup if you're into the Ninja Turtles and want to see kind of what, again, the offshoots of those were and all the different parodies that came out. Definitely one of the better ones. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Those of you who subscribed, love your support. Thank you so much. Those of you who are watching the videos and are not subscribed, please do so below. It only takes a second. It really helps the channel out. Everyone out there, have a great day.
Like, subscribe, like, subscribe.
King Comics presents Big Baby, Volume 1, Issues 1 to 13, 204 pages of story and art. King Comics also presents Star Crasher one-shot, 32 pages, cosmic sci-fi surrealist adventure. You can find these fine comics at KINGCOMICS.CA, at MaximusRex13 on Instagram, or on Facebook, MaxRex or Big Baby.